Hello, welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're looking at another exploration land vehicle that once again uses the visual mods tank tracks over vanilla wheels. So this thing seen right behind me is called the GS Crawler Mark III, which is this lovely thing over here. So this is a very flush vehicle with dual cockpits. We've got O2H2 generators on here, we've got modular cargo containers to all your stuff inside, we've got a very heavily armed undercarriage, so when we go over very rocky terrain, which is what this vehicle is made for, well, we'll limit the amount of damage taken to the actual important stuff right above those blocks. Yes, what I'm going to do is move over to this vehicle right over here, because what I've done is attached on a programmable block to the very back of this thing. I'll show you it right here, just slapped on underneath and added on a script to allow it to perform like a tank. So driving that one over there will be exactly like a land vehicle, vanilla land vehicle, but hopping to this very quickly, what the script does to allow you to turn on the spot. So undoing parking brakes, there we go. I now hold A and D to spin on the spot like an actual tracked vehicle. Anyway, hopping out of this, plug myself down, free camera once again, over to here, and I suppose what we'll do, just stick over to this one, because it is in direct sunlight. So press the F10 to find the since spawn menu. The GS Crawler Mark III is 436 small blocks using a couple of the DLC packs. We see it uses the heavy infantry, signals, wasteland, warfare 2, contact, automatons, and dev block number 3 DLC packs. We see up here that it's got a nice bit of information about it and what it's for. And then down here is this PCU, and it was used in someone else's survival series. So there is a link on the workshop page if you want to check that out. So giving this thing a thumbs up, we're going to move around towards the very front, have a look around the outside, and afterwards we're going to hop into that one right over there, drive around for a bit, see what I can do, then maybe remove the speed limits, and we'll see if I can actually blow it up by driving around recklessly. So for the very front of the GS Crawler Mark III, this is what we get. As you can see, we've got two of our flush cockpits to drive it around. Only one of them is actually going to be able to drive around, the other one is your co-pilot seat. We can easily change that up depending on what you want to do. Anyway, below here we've then got two cameras on the left and right hand side, so you get a very good view of what's going on. Then we've got two conveyor caps just sitting on front of the flush cockpits. Right below both of them we've got a truss block, two spotlights to light the darkness. Then below here we've got some armoured panels to cover out the undercarriage of our vehicle. Moving up slightly, because we'll come back to that a bit later. Moving on to the side. Okay, look at it completely on the side, because there's not too much to talk about on this. No, as I said at the very start of the video, the tank tracks are optional. You do not need to have that mod in your world, it behaves perfectly fine without it. It just adds a nice bit of visual flair to it, especially if you're going to do what I did on the vehicle sitting around distance, add a programmable block on there, and actually add the script to make it behave like a tank. Yes, we see a bunch of grey steel blocks, we see our lovely wasteland wheels, behind all of this coming inside. There we go, so we see some truss blocks across to each of our suspensions, that comes all the way across. There's some of our modular cargo containers. Towards the very front there we are with our O2H2 generator. Pulling away from this, around towards the very back here we go. Got ourselves our inset connector to dock up. To left and right of that, we've got our barrel store, a few bits and bobs inside, and they've been partially covered up by some beam blocks. We then got some more spotlights with a red colouring that acts as your brake lights. Then putting my light, moving down slightly, even more beam blocks, even more armoured panels, a bunch of steel blocks once again, like I said, to pick up the undercarriage of the vehicle. I suppose what we'll do is just come all the way down first of all. There we go. And that's what it looks like. If I will look at it like so you see the whole vehicle on the screen. It's just a bunch of blocks, all carefully laid out to make sure that if you do take a bad landing or go over a very sharp rock, this is going to get destroyed, not the actual important stuff sitting above it. Anyway, moving all the way up, looking down. There we go. So right in the very middle, we've got ourselves another conveyor cap sitting just on top of a modular cargo container. Over to here's our hydrogen engine, which you can probably hear humming away there, giving this vehicle a nice bit of power. Then towards the front, there are flush cockpits. There we go, we've got a radar dish, just sitting on top of two O2H2 generators. Then right into this section, right here, you see we've got ourselves our ore detector, so we can go out of bounds scan for ore patches. That's what we want to do with this vehicle. And with that, that's a very brief look around the outside of the GS Crawler Mark III. And what it is, looks fantastic and should be very useful in farm mode if you are going over a very rocky terrain, trying to go down a very dangerous mountainside such as the ones you see in the distance, where they have all the little rocks jutting out, but it's not too great to actually use a traditional land vehicle. No, using something like this would be a fantastic way of going all the way down. But no, grabbing hold of this character, coming all the way up into this seat first of all. So this one, we cannot actually drive it, so as you can see there, got a warning saying it's not the main cockpit. But no, this seat can control the connector at the back, got batteries to auto recharge, and then got spotlights on and off, which can be for ones at the very front. There we go. Then of course we've got our ore detector on and off, and our cockpits to change the parking brake on and off. Hopping out of this, coming into this seat, this is the main one to drive it around. We've got basically the same controls, except for 6 and 7 where we've got our cameras to sit at the very front. So we've got our very left one, and our very right one. Doesn't really make too much of a difference, but it is nice in case one does get destroyed, you've always got backup. Anyway, hopping out of that, tab number 2, we then got our wheel controls, gyroscope controls, but we do not need to touch any of them. Any other sneaky controls on this? No, there is not, so it's time to drive this thing around. So moving forwards, here we go, and this is why I absolutely love this tank track mod. It is purely visual once again, but it works so well on a lot of designs. But this is how it handles. So this thing is incredibly slow, but that is purposely done to be able to get up and down very treacherous terrain. And we come to a stop with a parking brake. There we go, we instantly come to a stop. And then spinning around, of course, can be handled by the script, but it does allow you to do this on the spot, which is always jolly good stuff. On the actual vehicle itself, without the programmable block, we'll just drive around like a regular vehicle. So first we'll do that right now, all the way across to this, hopping inside, and then turning around. There we go, and that's what we get. So it can almost turn around on the spot. It's got a very, very tight turning circle. Look at that pattern on the ground there, almost a complete perfect circle. And yes, that's just how tight it can turn. Drive around at high speeds, or at least as fast as this thing can go, then start turning. And there we are, we very rapidly come to a stop and start making the same size circle. Anyway, back over to this one, wherever it's gone, there it is. Now into this, because not too much else to talk about, so what I'm going to do now is take it down the mountainside to show you how this thing handles it, then afterwards I'm going to remove the speed limit to see how much it takes before it actually blows up. So here we are now up on the cliff, coming all the way up to the edge. This is what it's going to be like, and here we come all the way down. We've got to be a little bit careful here, so slamming on the brakes occasionally. And here we go all the way down this very treacherous terrain. So looking at it like so, that's probably going to take a lot of damage underneath the vehicle. But here we come all the way up, very carefully now. And now we're going to very carefully come all the way down. I want to come into this section, in between those two rocks. Oh god, they all just popped in suddenly. That could have been bad. That's one of the reasons I do struggle with a lot of my vehicles in the way that they're not surviving. Just tend to get these rocks popping out of nowhere and just blowing them up before I can actually make a blueprint. Or at least remember to make a blueprint. Here come all the way around. First person view doesn't feel too bad in the first person view. Go back into the third person. Tilting it up and around. Navigating over to this one. This is probably a very bad section. But no, that should take some damage underneath there. Looks like it did not. And here we come all the way down. Very carefully now. Occasionally just feathering the brakes. Oh, that looks like we did take some damage at the front. We'll take a look at that when we're actually down on the bottom. And I believe we want to go up maybe this way. It looks like it's going to be a bit dodgy, but here we come up. And around. Almost to the bottom. And it looks like I have discovered some kind of allies nearby. I'm not too sure how, because I was in this area already. Down the final stretch. Lifting it up. Almost got stuck there. And there's a bit more damage to the undercarriage. And here we come down to the final section where it's just a bit lumpy, a little bit bumpy, nothing too bad here, any old vehicle can handle this. And here we come down to the grass. So once we're on the flat surface, we're going to have a look at the damage. Down to here. Slamming on the brakes. And now I'm bringing the free camera all the way over, so all the way down. Looking at the front. And it looks like, oh, the front is all in one piece, so we lost an armoured panel right there. Below here we lost a couple armoured panels, at least I think, maybe not. So I'm not too sure where the rest of the damage has gone. It might be another armoured panel right there, could have been a few in there. Supposed to hop out and actually grab the welder so I actually see the damage on this thing. Looking in the front, that was almost broken during all of that. Looking at the cameras, they're all fine. The lights, they're also all fine. Arm panels are a little bit broken. But no, there we go, the arm panels did their job. They protected the rest of the vehicle. What's this truss block as well? As for that, all I've got to do now is drive it to destruction by removing the speed limits, and then that'll be that for this video. So over here finding the wheels, removing the speed limit from 35 kilometers an hour to unlimited, giving it a bit more strength, giving it a bit more power. Now it's time to end this video. As for that, that's pretty much it for this vehicle. It has to offer. It's a fantastic looking vehicle, great for survival mode, especially when coming down mountainsides like the one that I just came down over there. And yes, it should do very, very well in the long run, especially if you upgrade it with a few guns on there, maybe a few turrets on top, if that's what you want to do. Look at this thing, it's driving around 100 meters per second, it feels incredibly stable in a first person view. Yes, this thing does not feel like it's going to flip out anytime soon. It feels like it's hugging the ground quite a lot. Oh, bad jump there. I'm taking a little bit of damage. We're going to keep going here till eventually actually loses power and comes to a stop. There we go once again, we're now up to 7 meters per second. Back into a first person view. And here we are still going. So yes, we can still turn this thing around. I do not have the skid tracks on here. so not going to do anything too funky, but no, something weird happened there, sort of just started veering off to the left. Now it's just rolling around there. It still looks like it's in sort of one piece. Into here? And yes, I can. Despite all the fire coming off this, despite all the smoke coming off this, and that we lost one of our modular containers, it's still perfectly fine to drive this thing around, so we can easily repair this thing up if we did take a bad tumble like this thing just did. Looks like it just got a warning from one of the nearby stations, but I'm just gonna ignore that. But anyway, as I said, that's it for this vehicle. It's a lovely thing to use in your world. There'll be a link to its description below to wish you to download and play around yourself. I highly recommend you do, because it's a pretty sturdy vehicle. And as for that, I'll be back with another video sometime soon. Bye bye.